everyone talking about the top 5 vetiver fragrances. These are mostly going to lean masculine because vetiver is generally considered a more masculine note, but some of them are marketed unisex. There's a pretty good mix of designer and niche in here, and kind of something for all price ranges. One other thing that I would note is if you're not sure what vetiver smells like, these would also be good to try samples of. I know for me, when I started, smelling fragrances, so many of them into it, I still was like, wait, I'm not quite sure what vetiver is, because it's in like everything. So it's hard to find one that it's just like, oh, that's vetiver, specific to that note. Any of these I think would be a really good to try, especially if you can try a few, and then you can kind of be like, oh, that's the common link, like this is what vetiver smells like. So it's kind of, because it can also be a couple different ways. It can be like kind of dry and grassy, a little bit more oily. But anyway, let's dive into these. No particular order, though my favorite is last. First up, Essential Parfums, Mon Vetiver. This has Haitian vetiver, gin, juniper, lime, cashmeran, lavender, patchouli, and gentian. This is a refreshing, breezy vetiver. It's like sipping a cold Sprite on a cool afternoon next to a field of vetiver. It, leans masculine, somewhat mature, but not in an elderly or dated way, just refined and pretty nice. Definitely one of the best ones I think you can get for under $100. This is $78 for 100 ml, for example, and I will put a link to this and all of the other ones where you can get either a bottle or a sample in the description. Next up, we've got Yves Saint Laurent M7. I've talked about this on my channel before. This has Rosemary, Mandarin Orange, Bergamot, Oud, Vetiver, of course, Amber and Musk. So this is such a rich and classy masculine scent, and to me it feels really timeless. Like, it has a classic feel, but it doesn't smell dated, and I kind of love that combination. The oud here is like deep, warm, opulent, woodsy vibe, not animalic, not barnyard, and I say this as someone who does not normally like oud, so if I can tolerate it, I think almost anyone else would be able to here. It also almost has like a creaminess with the amber. The vetiver adds like a smoky, grassy vibe here, and the whole thing is just extremely well blended. Overall, a very refined scent, and as with many of these, leans mature in just kind of like a refined way. And this one is discontinued, but you can still buy big enough decants that you could wear it whenever you wanted. Next up, another one I've talked about before, Guerlain Homme Boisee. This has lime, vetiver, woodsy notes, grass, mint, geranium, rum, and musk, and it opens almost smelling like a woodsy Sprite in a good way, or like stirring a ginger ale with a stick of vetiver. And I realize this is the second time I'm saying that one of these on the list smells like Sprite, but I guess it's because kind of lemon lime type of vibe pairs really well with vetiver, so the good ones at least end up often having that kind of vibe. The mojito vibe is definitely here for this one as well. Fresh, green, light, nice, classy, masculine option for summer, which is really nice because, it's harder to find like that kind of option for a hot day sometimes, especially with stuff like vetiver heavy and things like that can sometimes be a little bit cloying when it's too hot. This is a good one. Next up, we've got a classic, Encre Noire by Lalique. Yes, that's right, I'm putting it on the top 5 list. And you can get a bottle of this for as low as $20 to $30 for 100 ml right now. Usually it's more than that, but I've seen on Fragrance X, Fragrance Net, as of filming this, all have really good deals on it right now. This has cypress, vetiver, cashmere wood, and musk. I smelled over 2,000 fragrances before I ever smelled Encre Noire, which is really funny to me because it's always talked about. It's such a popular one, but somehow I just never smelled it, or I don't know. I think people would always talk about it like it was so intense and over the top and just like off-putting, and maybe I've just tried too many intense or weird fragrances right now, but it doesn't smell nearly as intense as I was expecting, and I think it's actually really not that far off from a lot of vetiver niche fragrances I've tried that are 5 times the price, more than that even. I'm talking about 5 times the price that this normally sells at, not even the current sale price. This is like dark, woodsy vetiver, at least that's what comes out the most on me. And I'm picky about vetiver. Like this, there's a reason this is top 5 and not like top 20, because I wanted to stick to ones that I really, really like. And there's lots of scents I like that have vetiver, but in terms of being really dominated by vetiver, I really like the way it's done here. It does not go oily, and at the same time, it's not bone dry either. For my taste, this is actually one of the best masculine-leaning cheapies out there, period. Even not talking about vetiver. If you're on a budget and you want a masculine scent that has some kind of like badass mystery and edge to it, I don't really smell people wearing it out in public anymore, at least. Like, I know that it's very popular, but I don't think that everybody around you is going to be wearing it at this point either. And last, my favorite, Aesop Tacit. This has Yuzu, citruses, basil, vetiver, and cloves. Really high quality, natural smelling citrus. Green, woodsy, with like rootsy vetiver undertones. I think Aesop's super underrated in general. Everything I've tried from them has generally been a great combination of quality and attractive smelling, and this is no exception. To me, it feels almost tropical, but not in a floral or like obvious way, more just like the feeling of being at a laid back, upscale island resort. To me, this is like the smell of contentment and relaxation on vacation or something like that. And that one goes for 130 for a 50 ml. That one is much more expensive than the other ones on the list, but I also think it's very fairly priced given the exceptional quality of the materials that Aesop uses, the fact that it's just so nice and has this, just everything about it is really good. I guess I really like that kind of citrusy green vetiver combination a lot. Anyway, like I said, I'll put links where you can get a bottle or a sample of these in the description. If you have a different favorite vetiver scent that I didn't mention, let me know. And maybe if I end up finding like 10 more vetivers at some point where I'm like, okay, these really, really are good enough to go on the list, I'll make another list. But for now, these are the 5 that I really, really would recommend.